Stop the cap.
Yeah, I know. I haven't been posting. I've been busy. I've been posting on my community tab. I just haven't had the desire to post. I did make a few other videos. I got one video that I wanted to post where I was talking about how, I'm pretty much done with the gender war conversation for various reasons. I'm not going to, repeat myself, um, in this video. Um, but I was just saying how I was going to talk probably more about like Black history, talk more about, politics, geopolitics, um, those sorts of things, the economy. But anyway, I guess I'll have another. I'm going to try to make this video brief. A Nigga video, another one. Another one. So I was having a conversation with Captain Solo, and we were talking about, the coming election. And we were talking about revolution. Colonel McGregor thinks that there's going to be a revolution. I think there's going to be a revolution. I don't know what form, that revolution is going to take. But, the bottom line is the system is broken. We're in the Gilded Age 2.0. America seems like it's one big fat Ponzi scheme. A lot of people are distracted, like the white nationalists and the neo-Nazis. They're over there arguing about a cultural war, even though, they'll agree to, some of the other, economic points, but they only have it narrowly focused in this, white nationalist, white solipsism, where, everything revolves around them and, oh, we built this country, yeah, at everybody else's expense, let's finish the sentence. But in any event, they're distracted with the bullshit. The real shit that's going down is that we have a system that is basically just runaway capitalism. All the wealth is just going to the top. And the billionaires are not doing anything to contribute to society. I mean, hell, they don't even have to be loyal to America or a nation. I've talked about this before. They can just go around the world and look for the highest rate of return on their investment, whether it's they need products being manufactured or whether it's IT work. I mean, even if you have job recruiters hit you up, right? If you notice, they'll be from like India, or they'll be Indians in Canada, right? I remember way back in the day, if I got a phone call from a job recruiter from like old resumes and stuff like that, um, it would be white people. Now it's all Indians, right? And that's all comes down to the fact that they don't want to pay people. You know, everybody wants to focus on the cultural stuff, but the cultural stuff is bullshit. Yes, does white supremacy exist? Yes. White people's birth rates down? Yes. Is that anybody else's fault? No. Young white men can't get their lives established. Is that anybody else's fault? No. But they'll blame it on the Mexicans. They won't blame it on the people that are doing the hiring, that decided that they want the Mexicans to come across the border and all these other Hispanics to come across the border because they want their cheap labor, right? They don't care about, your average white man and the average white man's family. Now, I know what the white supremacists want to do. Oh, it's the Jews. It's the Jews. It's always the Jews, even though you look all over the place in Fortune 500 companies and it's, Gentiles and Anglo-Saxons up there and shit, and other people that identify with with the white race, the purity of the white race, right? They go up there and make those type of arguments, and they focus on that bullshit. But like I said before, I get blown away by quote unquote white supremacy, because as you can see, white supremacy and the system that it created, which is capitalism, cannibalizes itself. White people are cannibalizing their own children. I just posted, somebody gave me a link to Twitter, and It had a meeting of a bunch of boomers that were basically they were trying to make affordable housing, or I don't know if it was affordable housing or low income housing, but they booted out because again, those two things are code words for, black people. We don't want black people moving in, right? Even though everybody needs fucking affordable housing, right? This is where white people's racism hurts white people, right? Because anytime that a policy is put in place that's essentially going to help everybody, all they have to do is just sprinkle on, the xenophobic terms of, those people over there, or, we don't want, this demographic, again, like John McKeenan of New Jersey, of Monmouth County. Go watch the clip. Coleon Noir did a video about him where, he's up there and they're talking about the Second Amendment. And he's like, come on, we don't want those people to have guns. I mean, people in Patterson and Newark and Camden, we don't want those people, right? And those cities have like almost 50% minority populations. Patterson is like all Hispanic, right? Right? This is how these people think. And it all ties into Southern strategy. It all ties into the, Lyndon B. Johnson and his statement about poor whites. Right. And so it's like you can't get anything done because of white people's xenophobia. And this goes back to that book that was written, What's Wrong with Kansas or something. I forget the title of the book. But the guy talked about that, about how you had, these poor podunk white people in Kansas that were voting against their economic interests. Right. They should be for unions. That's another big thing. The conversation needs to be about unions. These companies do not want to pay anybody. There's no protections. I was watching a video on TikTok or Instagram, and it just showed, that it was actually at YouTube. Surprisingly, we're on the platform of YouTube. And they just literally did one of those mass firings again. Just bring all the people in and then just mass fire them. Right? It's like nothing is real. It's all like just like big ass, fake ass Ponzi scheme. Even the stuff with all the IT people. I mean, I was the one running around saying write code, not rhymes. Like now you got Nvidia, the CEO of Nvidia up there talking about how, basically the way the AI operates. And again, I've been using AI like crazy lately. And everything is based off of prompts. You literally tell it what you want and then it does it. So the whole idea of, you need to know C++ and JavaScript and HTML, and you need to know like all these ways of writing code. And I'm not saying that you're not going to need anybody who knows how to do that. But I'm saying the game has changed. It's made things more accessible. And we don't know like where that's going, whether it's going to a good place or a bad place. But it looks very bad right now. And again, going back to companies and, there's, no tariffs, NAFTA, companies can go abroad, manufacture goods somewhere else, bring it back into the country for next to nothing, right? And America doesn't manufacture anything, right? The fact that, everybody can't go to college, the fact that college is astronomically expensive, the fact that people are bogged down, with student debt, the fact that the average rent price is anywhere from $1,800 to $2,000, right? The average home, they can't afford homes, right? You got white people running around screaming like Elon Musk, talking about, we need more white babies, but yet, this is coming from the same dude that doesn't want to pay anybody, doesn't support unions. Right? You want more white babies, but you don't support unions so that white men can be gainfully employed to support families and purchase homes. Again, going back to the 60s, the average age of purchasing a home in 1960 was 24 years old. 24 years old. And you got boomers sitting at town hall meetings talking about, we don't want any affordable housing. We don't want any new problems. You got the media, the news media, gaslighting young people all over the place. Have you ever noticed, like, if you listen to them, they never hit the nail on the head when it comes to anything. They literally come up with their explanation and then tell you how you're feeling, and it's just completely way off. That's what they do to black people. If y'all white people ever want to know what it's like being black in America, and the news comes on and it's talking about black people, and like that dude said, black people are voting for Donald Trump because of sneakers, even though we've been sitting around, on the internet for about a decade talking about reparations for slavery. Nah, nah, nah. And the Democrats not doing anything for black people, which is one of the biggest Republican talking points, even though the same people saying that don't care about black people and are against reparations. I'm saying, no, it's the sneakers. It's the sneakers, right? And again, when it comes to, why aren't young people purchasing homes, and then like the guy will come up on the news. Oh, well, you see, they see the young people, their purchasing dynamics are different, and they would just much prefer to rent. Like, no, nigga, like, no, they would much rather have a home, but they can't afford a home because the amount of money that they would need to make in order to qualify. Right? I mean, this country ended World War II, and granted, it was different because the whole rest of the world was bombed to hell and everything was manufactured here. But I'm saying the government, they didn't have enough housing for the soldiers that came back. They were like, shit, what are we going to do? Let's build some houses. And they gave people had the GI Bill, people had the FHA loans. They didn't have 30-year mortgages before that. You know what I mean? Before that, it was, at least up until 1914, before World War One, it was the Gilded Age. It was freaking no unions. It was Latimer massacre, the Homestead massacre, the Ludlow massacre, and what else? Paying people in script, right? Having no child labor laws. Right? Like at the end of the day, like what y'all got to recognize is this system of capitalism that is, don't try to run away from it, because I see a lot of y'all white people trying to run away from it. Okay? Y'all run around, white supremacy, we run shit. This is our shit. Yeah, it's your shit. And your shit is fucked up, and it speaks to the type of people that you are. But that's a whole nother conversation. But my point is that basically, this system is set up to enslave everybody. I said it before. White people's default system is feudalism. That is your default system. It is feudalism. It's not, my rights and my liberty. And that was a new concept. And again, there were politicians, namely Andrew Jackson, even though he was a fucking racist, and Thomas Jefferson, and we know what he was on. But, they were, fighting against the central banks, right? They were fighting against, indebting, their children and their grandchildren. Okay. I mean, I posted the quote on the community tab. Just type in a quote about Thomas Jefferson and indebting, our children and grandchildren. It'll come up. You see, but this is the system, with the banking cartels, or whether you want to talk about the Rothschilds. That's where people get into all their, their Jewish conspiracy theories and all that. But there's no compassion. Basically, what the way that they want to set the system up is, because this is like basically what's going to happen, right? If people don't stir the pot and shake it up vigorously, okay, obviously, you got BlackRock buying up all the homes. You got Jeff Bezos. He's got a real estate company that's bought up like 30% of the homes in Georgia, right? Who else has a company? I want to say Bill Gates buying up land and all this other shit. They're talking about them buying up farmland. So you have. So basically everybody, even the homes that are still going to be there, they're going to turn everybody else into a renter. So you will be paying for rent in perpetuity, right? I don't even know how this shit is supposed to work in terms of people just being renters indefinitely forever. Because like, if you look at a boomer today, right? They bought their house. Let's just say they bought their house in 1960. They bought their house in 1960. They were 24 years old. And obviously we're mainly talking about white folks here, because black people didn't get to participate in that due to redlining and Jim Crow. But I'm saying, they were able to purchase that home, pay that home off, equity over the next 30 years, right? But if you buy a home at 24 and then you pay it off in 30 years, you're 54 years old. Right. And then all you got to do is pay your taxes. But if it takes you forever to get in the game of purchasing a home, because remember, right, where people back then, they were having babies, at 22 years old. They were getting married and having babies at 22 years old. Now the average age for a young person to get married, right, because they go to school, go to college, get an education, then you get out, then you got to work a couple of years, so about 5, 6 years. Now you're in your early 30s, 30, 31, right? I think the average age for a woman is like anywhere from 29 to 30, and the average age for a man is anywhere from 30 to 31, for when they get married and have children, right? Mind you, again, as we saw, the average of only 42% of men ever even have kids. And with white women, I think it's 54%. With Asian women, I think it's it might be 37%. With Asian men, I think it's 35%. Asian women might be a little bit higher than 37%. It was low. Black women 61%. Black men and 46%. Hispanics, I think Hispanic women was like 50%. Hispanic men was like 50%. No, Hispanic women were like 62%, but you got to remove, with the men and the Hispanic women, you got to remove the immigrants because they come here with kids. So they kind of throw the thing off. And I talked about that before. You know what I mean? So, when you look at like the fact that America already has a declining population, just like Europe does, right? All these first world countries have a declining population. Korea is the worst. It's 0.8, right? 0.8. They're so in the negative, it's not even funny. Same with Japan. Like they're in danger of like not existing. Okay? Because in order to live a first world lifestyle, you have to make, lots of money. And, it wasn't like that for a long period of time in America. And then it just went and it got crazy. And if you really look at the world as a whole, all of it is predicated off of the exploitation of third and second world countries. Just like France. I had to respond to some white supremacist that was talking about, I don't know, he's talking about black people and crime, talking about that video of the guy getting shot in Kansas at the gas station, right? Because again, remember, we're the black people are the canaries in the coal mine. Everything that affects us, all the redlining, blockbusting, Jim Crow, eminent domain, urban renewal, convict leasing, debt peonage, COINTELPRO, all that shit, the purging of black communities, all that shit negatively affected black people. So when you see black teenagers and all that committing crime and they come from a legacy of poverty, again, I look at that like, well, those are the black people that America deserves. But he was talking about, these black people, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, motherfucker, like your whole country is one big fat welfare state. France would be a backwater if it wasn't vacuuming resources out of Africa and forcing the Africans to exchange goods, in French currency. Again, shout out to Burkina Faso, and the resistance that they got going on to like, nah, you don't get to just suck our resources out of our nations and out of the continent of Africa so that you can live your first world lifestyle. If we could keep things, here, then we'd have opportunities for young African men, and young African men wouldn't be trying to leave the continent. Same thing with Latin America. There's a video on YouTube called "Why is Latin America Poor?" Because what basically what the Spaniards did, they went in there and they just set it up to basically vacuum resources out of it. It wasn't set up to be, like America where, you had, banks that were lending out money, for loans. So there's they're lending out money, obviously charging interest, but that facilitated, some level of growth, right? And I don't know where things like really got off. Some people will argue it's when we got off the gold standard and then we went to the, fractional reserve banking, right? But fractional reserve banking is what allows, for, again, because you're printing money, you're just printing it and printing it, and then that people go into all this stuff about what do you call it? Inflation. And, again, I'm not an economist, but I'm just saying, the genius people, the bright people, the people that went to Harvard and all that other stuff, right? They should be the ones that are facilitating a system that is actually sustainable. But what's going on now is not sustainable. It's going to collapse. And people like they kind of ignore the fact that people, may just, shut down. Again, white deletion rates, are high. White narcotic use, direct you to Kensington, Philadelphia, are high. And the crazy thing is, like, obviously that's going to change the demographics, which means, black people, that you will be a target once the white people realize that they went too far and they fucked up too much. And then that's going to equate to, the demographic shift in America, and white people no longer being, the dominant group, right? Because the white supremacists and all that, they're going to start freaking out. They're freaking out now, because of that. But I'm like, why don't you take the anger out on the people that set the system up where it's not sustainable for anybody, but instead you direct your anger at, all the minorities and whatnot that have already been long marginalized in this country. They're trying to literally set up a system of slavery in this country where you will work until you die. There will be no retirement. I mean, again, this whole thing, like, first of all, most people get their health care and their retirement from what? Working at companies for 30 years. That's where you get that shit. And now we all know that you work for this company for 2 years, and then you go and then you work for another company for 2 years, and then you go and you leave that company and you go work for another company for 2 years, and that's how you get your increase in pay. No discussion of freaking retirement. That shit doesn't even transfer over half the time. Like I don't even know how you would even go about trying to set that up without being firmly in a spot. Like in Japan, people go and they work for a company and they work for the company forever. Now they got a whole different set of problems when they work for, because they said the work culture is too much, and, all that like Bushido code shit that they got going on in Japan. You know what I mean? And everybody's all stressed out, and they got the people doing the self deletion on the side of what is that? Mount Fiji, whatever, or is it, what is that name of that damn mountain that they out there, they deleting themselves in the forest and shit like that. There's all type of documentaries. You can go on YouTube and you can pull it up. I forget the name of the mountain. But anyway, or the volcano, I should say. You know what I mean? So, people jumping off buildings and stuff. They got all type of shit going on in Japan, because Japan's like a pressure cooker. That's why you see all that goofy shit. You go, why is their anime so crazy? Yeah, because that's their release. You know what I mean? Hello Kitty and fucking Dragon Ball Z and all that, just all the crazy wild shit that you see in anime. Yeah, that's the Japanese people's release. But anytime you see them, walking around, in their society and not talking on the train and, walking in, they got to bow everywhere they go. Okay, desu ka. You know what I mean? Like, no, they're all stressed out because of how they function. Hi. They're all stressed out. So you look at it all over the world. You see it in China. What's that shit called? What do they call it in China? It's like Shu Shao Ra or something like that. I forget what it's called. But they got the lay flat shit. They got the shit in Spain. You know what I mean? The boomers have like just completely fucked over future generations. Just completely fucked it over. And then again, the audacity of not only the boomers, but a lot of these Gen Xers that have boomer tendencies. They want to sit there and talk about values and why people aren't subscribing. People do not. People want to do their own thing. That's just the reality of the world. Most people want to do their own fucking thing, but they're willing to conform in exchange for certain things. And for a long time, white people, they got all the wealth and they got all the power, and they were actually the ones that were dishing out economic opportunities that somebody could do something with, right? Like, hey, you got, let's say you got a guy and he's got dreads or something like that. Hey, if you got a job that allows him to support his family and purchase a home and this, that, and the third, oh yeah, he'll cut off his dreads, or he'll cut off his cornrows, right? Or he'll cut off his wicks or whatever. Yeah, for that. But when you're talking about somebody giving up their identity that they don't really want to give up for peanuts, like, no, they're not going to do that. And this applies to other areas as well. This applies to other personality areas and shit like that. Why you see bitches running around with purple hair and everything else. Like fuck me sacrificing this for nothing. So and the white people, they can't get that. They think their white the way of doing things is just absolutely superior. And I'm like, you set up a system that's not even fucking sustainable. So how are you superior? How are you superior? How does that fucking work? Europe don't have no fucking resource, don't have any goddamn resources. You got to run around the world, rape, pillage, and plunder, exploit other people, right? You didn't. It's not like you went around the world and were like, oh, let's have a mutually beneficial relationship. No, no, it's all like exploitation, all this other shit. Which again goes back to what Tim Dillon said on the Joe Rogan show: invade the world, invite the world, right? You create all these problems, destabilize regions so that you can get some resources on the cheap, and then you get migrants flooding into your fucking country, right? Which is something that the oligarchs want because they want their goddamn cheap labor. You see? But the whole way of life argument, the white oligarchs do not give a fuck about your way of life, the ideas and the concepts, the positive male identity or the positive white identity, the leave it to beaver bullshit that you were fucking sold. They don't care about that. They want their slaves. They want to make $1 billion an hour, and they want you, to basically work for next to nothing, live a bare minimum life. I mean, they're not even thinking the shit all the way out. Like, oh, damn, if we vacuum this so much out of the room, then these people can't breathe and they're not going to reproduce and they're not going to have kids. That's one of the main reasons why they're bringing in the immigrants, right? Not only because they want cheap labor, but because an economy cannot grow if you don't have a growing population. They got to replace all these white people who deleted themselves and all the white people not having babies somewhere. You thought Roe v. Wade was it? No, that's just the tip of the iceberg. They're trying to find ways, but it's like you got a hemorrhaging wound because you're not willing to deal with the larger systemic issues. You know what I mean? Like, you got this hemorrhaging wound, and here you are, like, running through the freaking medicine cabinet, coming back with band-aids, like literal band-aids. You know what I mean? And this person has like a 4-inch laceration in their abdomen. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Band-Aids. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You didn't even have sense enough to go and bring me a towel and, something we can apply pressure, a tourniquet, something. You know what I mean? But no, they didn't do none of that shit. But, I mean, this, the system is just broken. And I don't know where it's going to go. Now, in terms of, what I was telling Cap, I was telling him that because he was like, okay, so in terms of election, what do you think is going to happen? I'm like, well, young people are going to have to vote, and not even in terms, technically speaking, most of them are all in the same class, which is in the We's broke class. Okay. And then I said, the other thing is, they're going to have to vote, not just based on like their actual class, but they're also going to have to vote against the older generation. They're going to have to vote against, their parents. It's going to be an internal fight. Now, some of that is sticky because some people stand to benefit when their parents die. But it's like, I was watching this Instagram clip of a white guy, and he was talking about the shit. He was like, nah, just skip over us. Like, just skip over the millennials. Like, we're just a transitionary, because by the time we seize power, we're going to be too fucking bitter to do anything. They're like, just pass it to the millennials, because we're just going to be just completely fucked up by the time, we grab the reins of power. Like, oh, here's the resources transferred to you. And, everybody's like pushing 50 and shit. Like, he's like, nah, like, so I thought that was interesting, but it's true. Right. So I said that the boomers are going to be out of here within like the next 5 years, like the boomers are, but after the next 4 years, after this next election cycle, they're going to be well in their 80s by the end of that election cycle. Okay, so or they'll be in their early 80s by the end of that election cycle. So they're just going to become an irrelevant population. All right. And then hold on, I'm got to grab my thoughts. And then Cat brought up the Republicans, and he was like, "Well, what makes you think that the Republicans are going to offer anything?" And I said, "Because the white the white oligarchs have fucked up the system so much that it's way past critical mass. There's too many people. This is affecting white people. I'm like, there's too many people who can't make it. It's too many." So basically, what they've done, like you get all these people that especially the hardcore right wing people, they want to, all the lefties and socialism and everything else like that. Well, I'm saying what the oligarchs did in terms of setting the system up, open the door for socialism, because you're going to have a lot more people that are going to be supportive of a more socialist system, or breaking capitalism in a way where you like bring back unions or something, right? Which again, that white people xenophobia, they're gonna be like, no, that's gonna equate to black people getting free shit. Like they lose their mind, and so they shoot the shit down. But I'm saying they're way past the critical mass. There's too many white folks that are just down and out and don't have a pot to piss in, that they're going to be looking for dramatic change, dramatic policy change, which again, the billionaires, the millionaires, they're just going to run around and do their mental, jujitsu, to try to find loopholes around it. And it just going to, the system's just going to go off, and, it'll break. And then, people get sick and tired of being sick and tired, and then they'll ask and demand more laws and shit like that. So it's like this whole slow process, because people don't really want to fix the shit. I think a great deal of it has to do with the fact that there's not enough compassion. There's not enough human compassion. There's this sort of like, it's like that clip with Angelina Jolie when she was talking about, human rights shit. And she was saying how, it's like, we're going to do something for these people, but not these people. We care about human rights when it comes to these people, but not these people over here. And that's basically, how the system is. And, I just, made that point about, I said, what I think is going to happen is basically what happened with black people, how black people used to vote Republican, and then LBJ. And I think they were like transitioning slightly before that, because there was something, that Gilded Age documentary, where it talked about, I don't know if it was the Democrats or the Republicans that were supporting unions during the Gilded Age. Let me see if I can find that. Gilded Age parties, because there was like a whole bunch of like third parties and green parties. Gilded Age party that supported unions. Which party was it? Because black people went from voting the Populist Party. The People's Party, commonly called the Populist, emerged as a major force in the national politics in the 1890s. The party traced its roots from cooperative organizations that American farmers had formed after the Civil War, including Grange and Farmers Alliance. I don't think that was what I was looking for. I was looking for the Republican, but they had a whole bunch of parties that like came and went and whatnot. But anyway, black people were voting Republican because the Democrats were the Dixiecrats. They were the white Southerners. And when LBJ signed, the Civil Rights Act, then black people started, they switched over. Right. And so in other words, when there's that much of the population that has a particular need, and the parties are like, okay, we can get these votes, which I think that, like, example, I think Republicans could successfully pull black men away from the Democratic Party. All that LGBTQ feminism shit, black men don't want to hear that. Black men been emasculated to high heaven, and want to work, want gainful employment, want to provide for families, all this stuff about, patriarchy. But the Democrat Party is like, no, we're going to double down on black girl magic and feminism. And the black women are like, you black men, you hate black women, you hate your mother, all that bullshit. Then turn around 5 minutes later and then want to talk about how if some dude doesn't have money, he's a dusty. It's like dude's trying to get some money so that you don't look at him like a Dusty, and then when he's trying to get some money, then you turn around and say that he's a sexist and misogynist because he wants to have money so that he can be in control and be in a position for you to respect him. Like, it just, like, again, I don't want to say leave black women alone because that's just anti, like, black empowerment, but god damn, y'all, just the most difficult motherfuckers to deal with. But anyway, what else? Yeah, so what was I saying? Let me hold on. So I think that the Republicans definitely could try to pull black men away. That's what I was saying. And then I think that, again, because you got to look at, like, the boomers are going to be out. They're going to be dying and dead. You see Mitch McConnell, he's done, right? Because he up there, having, TIAs, which is transient ischemic attacks, while he's up there on the podium. The blood does not go to that part of the brain. There's a blockage, a temporary blockage. And, that part of the brain don't function properly without oxygen. So he's up there staring into space and shit, like he's having a goddamn absence seizure. But so they're going to be out of here, and then it's going to be replaced by most likely the Gen Xers. Now I don't know what the Gen X is on. I don't know what they're going to do. Cap actually sent me a documentary. I need to watch it. I'll post it on the community tab. And he said that a lot of the Gen Xers in that clip were basically sounding like us. They were sounding like us, in terms of, millennials and shit. They literally sounded like us. And so I haven't watched the clip. I'm going to watch it. And he asked me to watch it. There was a sister in there that said something. And he's like, I want to see what you got to say about it. I'm not going to tell you what you said, but I want to see what you got to say about it. I'm like, all right, I'll watch it. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I will watch it. But, the Gen Xers will be up there. And who, I don't know what they're on. I don't know what Gen Xers are on. I haven't come across the opinions of Gen Xers that are actually in positions of power, calling the shots, because you look at people like Jamie Dimon. I think Jamie Dimon is like 69. Jamie Dimon, he's 60. He's 67. So he's like on the cusp of being a boomer and a Gen Xer. Because I think, right, if you're 67, that means you were born, it's 2024 minus 2024 minus 67. Wait. 1957. Yeah, that would make him a boomer, because I think boomers were 1960. Boomers were 1945, I think, or 46 to 1964. Right, so he was still in the boomer category. So, I don't know. Gen Xers are probably, they're like in their early 50s now, so they're a little bit too young. I mean, they should be like, you should see a lot of them in upper management and stuff like that. But they're not, the people that we've been seeing, in these positions of power. That's the boomers. But I don't know what the Gen Xers are on. I don't know what the Gen Xers are going to do politically, from a political standpoint. I saw that clip that Professor Black Truth put up, where that Black Shill was up there on MSNBC talking about ignore black men, which is code for black people. Ironically, because usually it's the other way. Usually the code, when they say black people, it really is talking about black women, and it excludes black men. But this was one time where they said black men, and they were saying what he really meant was black people. But and Simone Sanders was up there, saying, hey, you gonna catch a lot of smoke for that one. Oh hell yeah, because again, like Professor Black Truth, address, like, when do you ever get somebody going up there and not advocating for themselves, or telling everybody to ignore their group, because they have some loyalty to the to the party. Like that doesn't even make sense. So because this guy wants to get in with the Democrats, he's going to tell the Democrats to ignore black people, even though they still want black people's vote. What? Huh? Again, and this is the whole problem with black people not being economically independent, because we got too many coons and shills for that very reason. Anybody can come in and just basically, throw a couple shillings, at any black person, and the next thing you know, they're up there doing the whole Candace Owens, Brandon Tatum, tap dancing, and all these other, conservative coons. Now you got tether coons, you got African coons coming through. They're up there, freaking, saying their bullshit. I mean, it's just it's all over the internet. I called that a couple of years ago. I said that. So you want to make money fast, just go up there and basically tell white people what they want to hear to absolve white people of all guilt, and just be the black guy up there saying, white people, you ain't doing nothing wrong. Let's talk about these niggas over here and what these niggas is doing. You know what I mean? The white people, they're over there just masturbating, oh yeah, just busting all over the fucking screen and shit. It's what they do. Oh yeah, tell me more about how terrible black people are and why I'm justified in my racism. Oh yeah, I'll splooge all over the place. Like, fuck out of here. You know? What else? What other statement was I going to make about the oh yeah, the election and whatnot? I mean, even if there was some sort of revolution, it would just be all over the place, because you have too many factions vying for power. You know what I mean? You're gonna have the wokety woke left and the Rainbow Coalition and shit, and all the people that want to use pronouns, right? Which, like, nobody really takes them seriously because they don't even believe in the Second Amendment. So, a bunch of non-combatants, they'll be ignored. You know what I mean? Then you got the white nationalists, right? Because they're going to be like, make America great again. We're going to take back America. Because they want to bring it back to, some sort of like Puritan America, biblical America, still completely ignoring the economics of it all, right? So their shit'll fail because they don't want to talk about the money component. They're just like, yeah, just close up the borders and get rid of the blacks. And I'm like, that's still not going to make the white oligarchs want to pay you. You guys are talking all this Mexicans and blacks and Jews and all this other shit, but you're not talking about fucking unions, right? You're not talking about full medical and dental. You're not talking about affordable housing because, that sounds another like code word for black people or code word for minorities that we don't want to live around, right? So again, they work against their own interests. So, it's like they're out, right? Black people, that's a joke in terms of like revolution and shit like that. That's just a joke, right? Y'all walking around with Grandmaster Jay with 22 calibers and shit like that. Not 5.56. No, you out there with literally 22 LR. Like, the fuck? Like, no. Then you got the militia people, right? You got your ex-military type of people. They're the biggest threat. The ones that have been trained by the U.S. government and actually know how to get down. They're the biggest threat. Okay, all the ex-service, ex-Marines, ex-Navy SEALs, ex-veterans, all those people, right? But, in terms of it just being, open conflict, like, who would their targets be? Like, what would there be, right? But like I said, black people got to be vigilant because you got, those white boys that are like that boy in Florida on that T&D shit, right? So we don't have any friends. You need to recognize that we don't have any friends. Trying to think what else. Like I think that there would be a political revolution before there would actually be, boots on the ground type of revolution. And I do think that if Donald Trump doesn't win, I do think that there's going to be a whole bunch of white people that go ballistic. I think it'll be isolated incidences and shit, but a whole bunch of them are going to go ballistic. They're going to lose their shit. They'll be shooting the fucking place up. You know what I mean? They'll be targeting minorities and all that other shit. The election was stolen. Ah! They'll be acting a damn fool. But I do think that Donald Trump is going to win because of the dissatisfaction with the Democrat. No president survives that. No president survives a shitty ass economy and gets reelected. No president makes a second term, and you got people that either can't get their life started or are losing what they had. Like, it's just not happening. I love these. The job numbers have gone up. What type of jobs? What type of jobs? Don't tell me about motherfuckers working at Wendy's or got to work 2, 3 jobs and all this other bullshit. People should be able to work one job and make enough money on that one job to pay off their bills, support their families, and have some semblance of some recreation or some shit like that, and not have to worry about getting sick and being put in the poorhouse. If I don't even know what the white nationalists think that they're preserving, when this is what it is. I guess they're trying to get back to something, but I don't even know what they think they're preserving because I'm like, none of that exists. There's not, like, all that has to be reestablished because it was removed over time, over the course of decades, and much of it was removed because instead of getting you to talk about, unions and contracts, between companies and the government or whatever, and where, how you were going to vote, all these sort of bundled up, pork barrel type of, what is that what they call it? Like when they bundle everything up, omnibus bills and shit like that, where you don't see, like, read the fine print. Like, y'all don't pay attention to that. Like, they go up there and say, oh, the blacks are breathing up all the white man's air, and y'all go crazy. And so they're able to, basically, the oligarchs are able to, yes, we got rid of the unions. Yes, we got rid of, having to worry about, giving people severance pay if we fire them without just cause. All those sorts of, like, protections. That shit didn't happen overnight. That shit was death by 1,000 paper cuts. And you would think that if you have white men running around talking that white nationalist shit about we need more white babies and we need white families and we need white men and white women making beautiful white children, you would think that they would be the big. I'd see more white nationalists walking around talking about we need a union, for a job, for just politically across the board. I should see white men walking around with picket signs with we want unions in America, not neo-Nazi flags and Nazi signs and shit like that. Y'all ain't got the money part. Y'all out here with focusing on y'all like the white version of the hoteps that want to sit there instead of talking about money. They want to talk about looking out their third eye, vibrating at higher frequencies, the power of melanin, whose penile gland is calcified, and all that other bullshit, as opposed to talking about what people actually need on a day-to-day basis to fucking survive. Y'all aren't talking about any real shit. It's just stupid. The fucking cultural wars that people are having. When it's like, if you had the money, you wouldn't give a fucking shit about what the fuck is going on with the fucking next man. It's always going to, if people got money, the neighborhood always looks nice because people got money to fucking maintain it. The playground is clean, right? The freaking law enforcement shows up. Right? Because people are gainfully employed, and those gainfully employed people pay a healthy amount of taxes, and therefore the police department has got its shit together, and therefore, the police are on the money, like all that stuff. Right? Money is everything, but you got people got $200 billion, can't even spend it all in a fucking lifetime, and you got other people out here, can't make it, can't survive. Then even more offensively, and this is what really pisses black people off, which again, they want to say it's about the sneakers, it's about Trump's sneakers, not the fact that you got black people who have, again, been a neglected population in this country since its conception, and then you got the Democrat elected leaders that black people disproportionately got into office. Democrats want to ignore the black people. Oh, let's talk about the Muslims and talk about the Asian community, right? And then on top of that, then they bring in the Latinos that aren't even fucking citizens, and they putting them up in hotels. They putting them, got them, eating good and shit like that, giving them all type of EBT cards or whatever the fuck you want to call it, whatever the immigrants are using. You know what I mean? It's like what is the purpose of this shit? Niggas been living, we've been here. Niggas been living in America, right? America still owes black people for reparations and Jim Crow and everything that happened during the 20th century. Right? Redlining, blockbusting, Jim Crow, eminent domain, urban renewal, convict leasing, debt peonage, 1955 Highway Commission Act, driving highways through their black communities. Central Ave in Tampa, Black Bottom in Philadelphia, Black Bottom in Detroit, running I-375 right the fuck through it. Right? They still owe black people. So not only you got the fucking immigrants coming across the border playing in our face, right? Moving into black communities and areas and you're putting them in hotels and shit. Then even more offensively, you got let's throw more money at Israel so they can go over there and kill a bunch of Palestinians, right? Even though that's not their land, because we know that 45% of Israel is Ashkenazi Jew, which means that they're from Germany and Poland and Ukraine and Russia. That's where the fuck they're from. So we're over here supporting, a what do you want to call it? A European colonial state, right? That's what we're supporting. But then again, no surprise, because that's exactly what the fuck America is, right? So you got all the money going over there. Then you got another, hundreds of billions of dollars going to Ukraine. It's like what? Why? Then anytime you need anything, for America, like, hey, what's up with the housing? What's up with with better schools? What's up with, college tuition? What's up with student debt? What's up with infrastructure? Can we get a high-speed railway? No, can't do that. No, because that doesn't make the politicians that we voted into office, that doesn't make them money. What makes them money is them going off and being able to, get government contracts with our tax dollars, right? Get these multi-billion-dollar bills, right? And then that go to Boeing and Lockheed Martin and what's it, Norman the Grumpler, whatever the fuck that company is called, right? And go into the military-industrial complex. And then those politicians go and then they do freaking inside trading and they buy a bunch of stocks right before the freaking contract hit because they know when it's going to hit. And then the stocks jump up and then they become multi-millionaires, even though they're supposed to be sitting there only making $174,000 a year. Right. So despite the fact that we vote these people in there, we can't seem to get anything done. They just out there just writing blank checks to everybody else, around the world. And we got all these fucking problems here. Right. And so what it really looks like, again, not only do we got slavery coming, not only is America beholden to, think about it, you're beholden to the bank cartels that where America prints money, which makes your money worthless. Right. And then the politicians go and then they, take your tax money, do whatever the fuck they want to do with it. Right. Putting America further in debt. Right. And then they say, oh, we're going to print more money, which makes your money even more worthless. Then on the back end, they're making millions of dollars by, doing the freaking inside trading. Right. And then all of that debt has to be paid back, to the bank cartels. Like America is like, it's going to collapse. This shit is not sustainable. And then on the horizon, what do we got? World War III with Russia. On the horizon, what do we got? War with China over Taiwan. You know what I mean? Which, I don't even really take China seriously because China has never been in a war in its entire fucking existence, as a modern country. China has never fought anybody. You know what I mean? And again, they still got that lie flat shit. They got a whole housing crisis. Their young men don't want to go off and fight. And then they got the whole thing where there's not enough bitches to go around. So not only do you want me to go to war and fucking die, I can't get no pussy. Nigga, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? So Xi Jinping, he's up there, again, just making some shit up. So but I'm saying it's still, all that turmoil, it's still a problem, right? And then you got the whole Israel Palestinian thing that everybody's just like, you need to stop bombing them. You know what I mean? You need to go with a two-state solution. Y'all ain't supposed to be there in the first place. UN international community has already determined that. Y'all need to stop with your, settlements and shit like that. Israel's like, oh, I don't know why they attacked us, right? Like act like the shit come out of nowhere. This is like the fat kid that was running around the pool, pushing everybody in the pool, thinking it was funny as hell. And then when somebody pushes them in, they're like, "Did you see what they did? They just attacked us out of nowhere. It just came out of nowhere." You know what I mean? I mean, just the nonsense. I like looking at the shit. Like it's mind blowing to me just watching the whole Israeli, Palestinian conflict, because I'm like, yo, like that's crazy, the disconnect, because it looks like the Jews are becoming the Nazis. Like even when you watch these videos, and there's a guy by the name of Hamza, he's got this YouTube channel, and he like interviews like all these Palestinians, and I mean the shit that they say, like straight up, it's disgusting. I cringe even watching the Ethiopian Jews up there. I'm like, hello, yeah, I know they brought you there, Operation Project Moses and all that other shit. But again, I didn't forget about the Israeli soldier who was beat up on by two police officers. Did you? Oh, you must have forgot. I didn't forget about back in, what was that, 2013, January 2013, where Israel got caught, giving the Ethiopian Jewish women Depo-Provera, which is a progesterone regimen, which is birth control, right? And then come July the same year, they were like, "Oh my God, we recognize Ethiopian black women's beauty. Oh my God, look, we have a black Miss Israel. Now leave us alone because we got caught, and we're not going to apologize for it. We're just going to, go and elevate you because we don't think that you're attractive, but we're just going to elevate you because, we know that you're insecure about that shit due to the system of white supremacy that ironically us as Jewish people are also on." You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, all type of disgusting videos. You know what I mean? Like, you see the video where the Jewish guy's up there and the woman she's married to, I think she was married to an Ethiopian, and then the guy was like, "You're married to a nigga. You married to a nigga." You see this shit? He was saying it in Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, yeah. You ain't gonna see me speaking up on that shit. You know what I mean? I'm like, nah, y'all, everybody felt bad for the Jewish people with the Holocaust. Oh, it was terrible. You see the pictures and all the skinny people and all Auschwitz and Dachau and all that shit. Oh, it looks terrible. You know what I mean? But the shit that they doing now, I'm like, damn, you just took all the sympathy that people had for the Holocaust, you just took that shit and erased it. Like literally just erased it, completely erased it. And I don't even see that shit. But that's just my 2 cents on the shit. I think that we're going to see a lot of you're going to see just random explosions in the next like 50 years and shit. Motherfuckers, random universities all over the place. A Palestinian boy went in the classroom and he threw a backpack and the backpack blew up, and you're going to see that. And it's not going to happen in Israel. It's going to happen like in the West somewhere. I mean, you're just going to see like all these like random attacks because they're going to try to get at them wherever they can get at them. That's going to happen. You know what I mean? Like that shit's got me. I don't even want to sit next to a Jewish person. I'm like, nah, nigga, you got a target on your back, man. You know what I mean? They come around me with their little hat and shit like that. I'm gonna be like, nah, nigga. And I'm like, don't sit next to me. No. Not because I got a problem with you being Jewish. I got a problem with the fact that I know that you got a target on your back. I don't need a motherfucker spraying, talking about, "Oh, black man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hit you. I meant to hit him." I'm like, no, 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 no. Nope. I will be sitting somewhere not in your vicinity. Cause y'all motherfuckers done really fucked up, in my opinion. But that's just me. But and don't be surprised if they go out and try to do something because they're mad that, the West doesn't support them. Like, what's his name? Who's that guy on the street in New York that was like, "You black people, we're going to remember this." You remember he was saying that shit? I'm like, what the fuck do we got to do with this shit? We don't have a fucking thing to do with what's going on in Israel and Palestine. You black people, we're gonna remember this. Next time you need something, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, next time we need some, I'm like, shit, y'all the motherfuckers that running around promoting, like, what's the dude's name? The Levine dude promoting, all this ratchetness and everything in the fucking music. You can't get no positive music. That shit won't get no airplay. You know what I mean? Meek Mill's, dropping notes on that shit. Yeah, if I go up there and I talk about death and mayhem, yeah, that they pay me more for that than if I go up there and talk some positive shit. You know what I mean? But anyway, I'm just, it's just a lot going on right now, but I think that people need to see beyond the bullshit and recognize it's about power, it's about money. Follow the money, follow the power, follow the aspects of control, and try to prevent that, and you're on the right path. But if you get into all the other divisive bullshit, you know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. Like, if somebody's gonna be on some racist or divisive, I'm gonna call it the fuck out, right? But I know that shit is when we're talking about money and people living and shit like that. I know that conversation should go to the back. It should be on the back burner. You know what I mean? It should the focus should be on the economics, because that's what everybody needs to survive. And as long as it's really not the black people who are the most distracted. It's the white folks that are most distracted. Y'all got all type of xenophobia and all type of, oh, we don't want to lose power, and like, you get, and again, y'all got that shit where you don't want to you want to be able to set the tone and set the pace. You want to be like Quill and freaking the Mandalorian. I have spoken, and then that's the end of the conversation. That I'm white and I said so, right? It is the way. Like, nah, motherfucker, it is not the way. Y'all like being in that type of position, and y'all don't want to exist in any world where you're not in that type of position. But I mean, seriously speaking, the world is changing. I mean, again, y'all ain't even getting with each other. Y'all ain't producing enough white babies. And again, if you want to say, well, that's due to economics, well, it stands to reason. You should be talking about the economics and not talking about, how wide the Africans' nostrils are and how they're breathing up all the white man's air. You need to be looking at the people who look like you that run shit, that have the billions of dollars. You need to look at them. I mean, the crazy thing is like, what I don't get about y'all is you all will sit there and you all will identify with the billionaires and say, see, look, clearly we're racially superior because there's more white billionaires than black billionaires, right? That'll be like your argument, right? But then when I point out that the white billionaires are screwing you over and you ain't got a pot to piss in, right? Then all of a sudden now you want to separate yourselves from that group. Now all of a sudden it's not a position of pride that you want to claim. Now all of a sudden now you want to distance yourself and or you want to change the group. Now it was white oligarchs that you were deriving your identity from, and then suddenly you like flip it on the sly and try to turn it into some sort of a conglomeration of Jewish people or something like that. I'm like, that's real slick. That's real slick. 5 minutes ago, your chest was all big. You know what I mean? You were talking about, yeah, that's right. That's right. Because look at who runs shit. Larry Fink and Jamie Dimon. Look at who runs shit, right? And Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is the man. What if black people invented, right? Look at Jeff Bezos. Yeah, right. That's all you say, right? Isn't Jeff Jewish? But anyway, that's what y'all say. And then you'll turn around and you'll run away from it so fast when it's pointed out. I'm like, all this shit, all this economic shit, all this everybody broke and don't have any money and can't afford housing, all this shit happened on the watch of white supremacy. This is your system. This is your system. People are gonna remember it as such. They're not gonna. People aren't gonna sit there and be like, "Man, you remember how good we had it when white folks was in charge?" They're gonna say white folks fucked it up. White folks fucked it up. Maybe we should let somebody else in the driver's seat. That's what's going to be said. Not, oh man, white people, man, they really prove themselves to be awesome. They really know what they're doing. Nah, y'all don't know what y'all doing. Y'all are like crash dummies and shit. Y'all will push shit. Y'all push the envelope so far the shit breaks. You always want to see how far can we take it? How far can we milk it? I'm like, you're going to break you're going to break it. Whatever little balance you have, whatever balance capitalism had, right? Which is always this situation between the workers and the employees, right? I'm like, nah, you broke it. And now what's going to happen is people are going to demand something that's got a little bit more socialist flavor to it. That's what they're going to demand. They're going to demand that employees have a stake in the companies that they work for. They're going to demand that people have tenure, and they can't be fired. And if people are fired in a particular way, that the company is heavily penalized. It's going to be all type of shit that people are going to be demanding. And if people stay on code, the American people will be able to get all of that. But they got to stay on code. They got to go out and vote. You know what I mean? The whole, people come out and vote. They're always trying to get people to come out and vote. Yeah, they always say that because you only got like 30% of people that go out and vote. I think it's like less than that. Most people don't go out and vote. They don't bother. But could you imagine if everybody went out and voted? Like, it was like I'm talking about like 80, 90% of people, not just registered voters, not, obviously registered voters, but I'm saying not just the people that I'm talking about the people that never voted it before, didn't care before, and everybody was on code, and they just took the whole fucking Congress and the Senate and just literally dumped them people on the fucking street. And you got to be consistent though. Like when you dump the swamp out and then you put new people in, if those new people don't do what the fuck you say that you want them to do, you vote them out. See, the problem is you haven't demonstrated. Consider that's how you get these people that freaking Dianne Feinstein, Sheila Jackson, James Clyburn. That's like all these people that have been there for millions. Nancy Pelosi, all these people that have been there forever. Because people keep voting for them. And we all know that that's the fucking boomers and shit like that. But again, a couple more years, they're gone. They're gone. You know what I mean? Hell, it's going to get to the point where they go, I'm going to go vote. No, you're not. You know what I mean? They're going to take their license away. They and shit like that. They can't see. They too old to drive. Nah, we taking that shit away. Sit your ass home and watch reruns of Star Trek. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Because seriously, the tides are going to shift, but if people gotta be intelligent. Like what's so crazy is like if you really look at it, right? Millennials, are probably millennials and zillennials are the smartest younger generation, right? And I shouldn't say that because I'm like middle aged, but I'm saying the younger generation is smarter than the people that came before us. Way smarter. I mean, we're walking into AI and all this shit. I mean, I'm saying think about it like this, right? Like what did a guy know in 1960? Like what did they really know? Right? But just graduated high school, right? Maybe had a little bit of college, went to college, and they didn't have computers like that back then, right? Like the way that we consume information, they had none of that shit. You know what I mean? They want to figure some shit out. They got to go to the library, Dewey Decimal System, all that bullshit. We got information at our fingertips, right? And yet they were able at 24 years old to purchase a home, start a family, raise a family, send kids to college, go on family trips with the fucking, the freaking, what the station wagons with the fucking wood vinyl on the side. The cream colored, what kind of car was that? You know what I mean? Freaking them damn Chevy Chase movies and shit like that. Cream colored, What's the name of that? What's that name of that movie? Let me go pull that shit up. Let me pull that shit up right now. Hold on. Chevy Chase station wagon. Am I thinking of the right station wagon? Yup, that motherfucker. That's it. The family truckster. What is this? What is this called? What type of car is this? Lampoon's Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation. What type of vehicle is that? What is that called? 1975 Chevy station wagon with the wood panels on the motherfucking side and shit like that. Yeah. See, they were able to do all that shit. And now, people are like, you got people talking about being dinks, dual income, no kids. I mean, I'm fascinated. I am fascinated by the cannibalistic nature of white supremacy. I'm like, how do you maintain white supremacy and you set up a system where your own kids can't survive? Like, you're so motherfucking greedy. Like, again, this is a testament to white psychopathy. Like, it's a testament to it. The greed, the narcissism is a testament to it. And it can't be denied. That's what's so beautiful about it. From the black perspective, it can't be denied. Because just looking at it, I'm like, you're cannibalizing your own kids. You're passing some shit on. I'm like, in other words, you delay their growth so much. They decide not to have kids. Then when you pass some shit on, when you finally fucking die, you know what I mean? Then like, what are they gonna do? Are you gonna have a 50-year-old son or daughter that thanks mom and dad, now I can finally get my life started. Now I can finally have kids even though she's going through premenopause. Like, the fuck? You know what I mean? That's like the shit with like King Charles and shit. His mother lives forever, Queen Elizabeth lives forever, and then she finally dies, and then he gets to be king, and then gets immediately diagnosed with cancer. Like, the fuck? What type of freaking shit is that? Actually, I can't even say, what type of cruel God is that? Because then again, when you look at the freaking legacy of that family, oh yeah, that they deserve the cancer, right? But no, it's just I'm totally, I keep saying it in these videos, but I'm really blown away by that. I'm really blown away by how cannibalistic the society is. And I'm like, okay, so what is the end goal? The end goal is for everybody to be slaves. You know what I mean? I was looking at some other shit about the other day about the exit tax, right? You can't just leave this country, right? You got an exit tax, like in terms of like all of your assets and shit like that. There's an exit tax. The exit tax was created because the guy that started Facebook with Mark Zuckerberg, the Jewish guy from Brazil, right? So, he basically left the country, denounced his citizenship, and took his money with him. And the U.S. government was like, oh, fuck that shit. Oh, hell no. You know what I mean? Because, they just let a bunch of billions of dollars walk away that they couldn't tax. So after that, they shut that down. And so all the people that are running around talking about, I'm trying to leave America and and I'm not paying, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Talking about going elsewhere. I'm like, I hope you look at the laws, especially the tax laws, and the whole denouncing your citizenship and everything that you got to go through and what that really means. I mean, it's talking about leaving the country. That's a whole can of worms. For me, I love my ability to protect myself. The Second Amendment. They don't have that shit anywhere else in the world. They do not have that shit anywhere else in the world. You go somewhere else, the motherfucker have a problem with you. They be standing outside, with a machete. I chop him up. Bad man, I chop him up. You know what I mean? You be like, God damn, who this nigga with the dreadlocks with the fucking machete? The fuck? You know what I mean? Nah. You know what I mean? It's like, do you want to deal with that? Right? Or you go to, you gotta fucking, I don't know where you would go. Southeast Asia. You see, they kicked out the white Russians and the Ukrainians because they were trying to bring their white supremacy down there in freaking Sri Lanka, right? They tried to have an all white some type of pool party or club or something like that. Yeah, they invited them down there because I don't know if y'all know, but the Sri Lankan economy went to shit. I don't know the details of it, but they went to shit a while ago. So the Russians, they were trying to escape the war. So a bunch of Russians and Ukrainians went down to Sri Lanka, but they brought that white supremacy with them. And the president, he don't know what to do because he want the money, he wants the investment and shit like that because he needs it, right? But the people are like, nah, you can get the fuck on, and which is exactly what the hell they should do. But but it's like it's so funny because you usually hear white people, they're like, if white people's nations aren't so awesome, then why do y'all keep coming to our nations? It's like you literally freaking raped and pillaged the whole world, vacuum resources back to Europe, and back to North America, right? Like that's literally what you did. Again, Banana Republic, fucking all the involvement of the CIA in Panama and Colombia, Venezuela, you know what I mean? All, freaking Dominican Republic, right? Guatemala, if I didn't say Guatemala, right? All this shit that was done. And then they had the audacity, they want to come here, right? But now you see all these white folks, they want to go somewhere else. You know what I mean? Who's that faceless dude with the mask, you know what I mean, on Instagram, always talking about I'm in Bali, and in Bali, in Bali this, he's like trying to be like the prophetic one. He's like the prophet and shit like that. But yeah, he's over there talking his shit. I'm like, you live in Bali. Or you get these other people, they'll be in Dubai or whatever. They're trying to go elsewhere in the world. Andrew Tate's advocating for Dubai. He was advocating for Hungary until they try to throw him under the jail. But these are people, they got money. They make their money online, and it's just, America's just going to go in a decline because of the way they set it up. School is expensive, and then people are like, now people don't want to go to school. Look at the number of universities that are now like closing and shutting down, especially the smaller ones, right? Because it's like why am I gonna go and spend $50,000 to $100,000 on a 4-year institution in education when at the end of the day, when I graduate, all these companies are talking about is some $40,000 job that's not going to cover not only my loans, but isn't even going to cover my living expenses. Hell, I can't even date, right? That's the argument, right? This is how much they fucked up the system. I hope you all are comprehending what I'm saying, right? So nobody wants to go to college anymore, right? Which means that we're going to have a dwindling number of freaking, engineers and doctors and all that other shit, right? This is why they want to keep the H1B, what is it, H1B visa, right? What is it, H1B? The visa, the if you have exceptional technical skill visa that allows you to come in the country. What is this shit called? H1B visa? Hold on. I think it's H1B. Make sure I get it. Yeah, H1B visa. Yup. H1B visa is a visa in the United States under the Immigration Nationality Act, Section 101, that allows U.S. employers to employ foreign workers and specialty occupations. Yeah, so like that's why you see all them, IT people, them extremely dark-skinned Tamil people, you know what I mean? Because we don't have in America, if y'all don't know, we don't see a whole bunch of, like, the South Indians, we don't see a whole bunch of them. You know what I mean? Because they used IT to basically get away from the untouchable status and all that other racist shit that's going on in India with the caste system, right? So they got on the IT shit, and then that got them, because of where things were going technologically, that got them out of India on that bullshit. And then so you start seeing, because my brain still doesn't know how to process them. Because some of them, they blacker than me. I'm just sitting there, I'm like, damn. I know we talk about all that out of Africa stuff, but it's like when you see them, I'm used to seeing the Hindu people, you know what I mean? The people who speak Hindi, right? The so-called invaders of India, right? The people that come from the Mongols and the people that come from the Aryans and shit like that. That's what I'm used to seeing. That's what you see mostly in America, right? The people that are like freaking what's her face, freaking Nikki Haley, even though that's not her name. You know what I'm saying? She want to use her like nickname or her middle name and some shit. She want to hide her Indian identity. Then got the audacity to turn around and tell black people about how America's not racist. And the stupid thing is her son-in-law is black. Like this shit makes no sense. Like we live in a world of like idiots and people that just literally will like lie to your face even though you got all the facts in front of you. Like, why are you lying? Like, why are you lying? You know what I'm saying? You know, like it just reminds you that what's that skit? Ooh, why you lying? Why you always lying? Right? That's what that shit feels like. Oh my God, stop fucking lying! Like that's what all these people feel like. And it's like, yo, why are you lying? Like, I got a cell phone. I can pull this shit up right now, right in front of me. Like, I can pull you, like, why are you Nikki Haley? I'm looking at your history on Wikipedia, and I can clearly see that your name is not just Nikki Haley. I didn't even know you was Indian. I thought you was a white woman. You almost fooled me. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, this is just the world that we fucking live in, man. And it needs to fucking change. Otherwise, it's just going to be a bunch of TikTokers and Instagram people and bitches on OnlyFans, trying to make a buck and everything else like that. And then you get the white nationalists running around. Oh, these whores, they're not wifey material. Well, maybe if your system actually was set up in a way that paid people enough to actually live, maybe your precious white women, as James Jared Taylor would say, your precious white women wouldn't be up there trying to, make money on fucking OnlyFans if they can make money actually, working a job, being a secretary or being, working in corporate America or something like that, or being a teacher. You got teachers wanting to quit all over the fucking place. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be this way, but due to Eurocentric selfishness, that seems to be in their DNA. Like this is what we've been given. Let's see. This is the beauty of not being in control. This is the beauty of being a minority and not being in the driver's seat. Like, it ain't got nothing to do with us. This is how you set shit up. This ain't got nothing to do. Don't try to blackify it. You know what I mean? Y'all running around. You don't want to give us Egypt, but now all of a sudden you want to say, it's because of Barack Obama. Nah, nigga, you done had, what, 40, 46, 45 white presidents? Don't sit there and you gonna try to put it on the one? See, America was great until Barack Obama was president. You know what I mean? Like, nah, nigga, no, no, no. You can stop it. I mean, people don't even make sense when they make their arguments. It's so simple to see what the solutions need to be. You know what I mean? And you got to put money in the hands of the American people, plain and simple. Tons of problems would go away if you put money in the hands of the American people. But again, that's not the system that white people set up. White people set up all we're heading towards is a Gilded Age 2.0, which is going to be a technologically advanced form of feudalism. That's what you're looking at. And honestly, look, just based off of the numbers, like black people what can black people do? Y'all 75% of the fucking population. And if y'all ain't willing to go out there and fight and kick up dust to make the shit change, it ain't gonna change. And the white oligarchs, they use all that xenophobia, getting you to be focused on, the Mexicans, it's the blacks, it's the Jews, it's the Syrian refugees, it's the Chinese, it's the Taiwan. It's like when that guy was sitting before Congress, and he's like, the guy that owns TikTok. And the guy is like, what is your relationship with China? He's like, I don't have a relationship with China. I'm from Singapore. You know what I mean? So, where were you born, sir? I was born in Singapore. I already told you this. I'm not Chinese.
I'm from Singapore. Tell me about Shenzhen, China. I'm not from shit. I don't know anything about Shenzhen. Tell me about Chengdu. Tell me about Beijing. It's like, oh my God, I'm from Singapore. Singapore is like in Indonesia, right? Most of the people are Muslim, right? Get it? I know the face might fool you. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm talking about. Like there's like and not only that, you got a whole media industrial complex, Fox News. I love when Walter Cronkite, who checked Sean Hannity about that shit when he said what he said. He was like, nah, I think you push a narrative and you're not good for America. I mean, he just told him to his face. Told him to his face. His face. But I mean, it's just crazy looking at, you know, America and like what's going on. And all this noise. It's like real simple to understand. But, as a black person, I don't have too much hope that all of a sudden white people are gonna wanna, be like the Who's in Whoville and hold hands with us and sing Kumbaya, right? And right? I don't think that's gonna happen. You know what I mean? I think that the white people are gonna be like, nah, nigga, it's what's for me. It's what's for me. I'm fixing this shit for me and me only. You know what I mean? Like that's what they're gonna be on. So black people gotta have a game plan. I don't know what that game plan is, but black people gotta have a game plan. They're already, and that's another thing. It'll be some shit like, when the wealth transfer finally happens for some of these white folks. You know what I mean? Then they'll be like, oh, let's pass reparations. You know what I mean? To make white people even more agitated to be more against reparations. You know what I mean? Because white people are going to be sitting there at that point. They're like, oh, nigga, I just got this shit. I just got here, nigga. Like, they're going to be like, my parents just died. I just got this shit. That's what they're going to be on. I just got here. And y'all niggas got your hand out for some reparations. Fuck that shit. Knuckle. Like, that's what they're going to be on. That's white people. They'll be like, oh yeah, we're gonna give you reparations. Right? Once these people get their transfer to further cause division and piss people off. Right? Even though reparations, again, it should come from the same place that all this goddamn, money for Ukraine and money for Israel is coming from. But that's a whole nother conversation. But damn, I knew I wasn't going to make this video long. I don't know why I even try to say it, but you know me, I have my stream of consciousness and I just keeps going and just keeps going. But anyway, let me end this video. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.